Going on, motherfuckers? Throwing together an update video. To say today was a great day would probably be an understatement. Ripping across the board. Indices, especially SPY, IWM, uh, Dow, Nasdaq, all of them. Everything looks great. AMC new low today, which is not a big deal. I mentioned multiple times that the all-time low landmark is not confirmed until we see our macro breakout on IWM, and we're about to. We're sitting right on the line, actually, the parallel channel. I'll get into that in a little bit, but yeah, absolutely beautiful day today, all across the board. Exactly what we were looking for. I mentioned in the video I made over the weekend, the weekly recap. This week, the market would be shredding to the upside. Great start, and in my opinion, this is going to be the entire week, just shredding to the upside. So with that being said, let's get into the video, and we'll kick it off with Dow Jones, which formed new all-time highs today. Shocker. Again, new all-time highs, heading up for that next resistance level at 39,100, more than likely, and this would be a pretty crazy move to see. We will be seeing this week, 39,100 on Dow Jones. More than likely, the FOMC meeting tomorrow and Wednesday is going to be a catalyst for some big movement to the upside. Whether Powell decides to cut rates or not, whatever is about to go down in this FOMC meeting this week is going to be a big catalyst for the market, and we will see big upside across the board. So Dow Jones, new all-time highs. This looks great. 39,100 is next stop. Looking for more green here all week. Nasdaq, same story. Did not form a new all-time high today, but nice bounce right back up to the resistance level at 17,600. Filled the gap that we left open on Tuesday on the retracement here. Filled the gap, and a very nice bounce off right back up to the resistance level at 17,600. I don't know where the next level is to the upside here. There's no GANs level above, so that's it. It's air. We're at all-time highs, so there's no levels up here. We're going to have to find them as we go. Until the GANs level updates, I'm not too sure about NASDAQ. But, we're looking for upside anyway. So new all-time highs incoming this week for NASDAQ as well. That's it. Market's going to be shredding all this week. S&P 500, SPY, new all-time highs again today. Shocker. 491.41 high of day. Absolute fucking boomstick here on the daily, heading up for that resistance level at 496. Said in my last video, 490 plus on SPY is a lock this week, and I wouldn't be shocked if we even saw 500 on SPY, which is bold, but I think with the FOMC meeting, we're going to be seeing big upside across the board. So, seeing 500 this week on SPY, definitely not off the table. Seeing 496, more than likely is going to happen. It's whether or not we just shred right through this level. Might find some resistance here briefly, but 500 definitely on the table this week for SPY, especially after today. 491.41, I believe. 491.41, yeah. Looks great. It looks absolutely amazing. Reverse market crash. No complaints there. IWM shredding today to the upside. Boom candles, SPY, IWM, Dow, NASDAQ, right around power hour, 3 o'clock. Just absolute fucking boom candles. Right now for IWM, we are sitting right on top. Actually, right now we're above it and still curling up after hours. Right on top of the resistance here. The parallel channel that IWM has spent 2 years trading in, bouncing up and down, playing ping pong between 160 and 199. We closed above the resistance today, and we're curling up after hours right now. The side-by-side looks phenomenal. Tracking looks amazing on this. Expecting more upside here. I'll get into the micro, but again, we were comparing the current iteration, the fractal that we're going through right here, to the previous of 2021. And this side-by-side comparison has very interesting qualities, I'll say. So, and I've already covered them with the timing and the synchronization of the bottom for the meme stock, specifically AMC. This looks very, very good, especially being that AMC formed a new all-time low landmark today, which at first glance probably is an ugly thing to see, but when you look at it with the correlation and the synchronization with the rest of the market, this looks really, really fucking good. IWM is going to all-time highs. And I mentioned in my last video, if you wanted to play calls on it, enjoy. They're going to fucking print this week. it's not too late to jump in. Now, I'll get into this on the micro, but there are two options for tomorrow as far as I see it. Number one would be we gap up, and this is the most likely, in my opinion, would be that we just gap up even further tomorrow, after hours today, into pre-market tomorrow, gap up, and then we see more intraday green. The other scenario would be a pullback to 197 to retest, which I don't hate. If you did see that tomorrow morning, not financial advice, but if you see a pullback tomorrow on IWM to 197 in the morning, that is a gift. That is an absolute gift buy. This thing is going to be on a fucking tear this week, and it's seeing 205 plus. I wouldn't even be shocked if we saw 210 this week on IWM. I said it in my last video over the weekend. We're looking for big upside here. We're looking for new all-time highs. So IWM looks great. Here's the side-by-side where we left off last week. The previous iteration of it. Again, what we're looking at here is the green square that you're seeing right here. The macro break in 2021 versus this green square here. 2024 macro break incoming. Same exact movement, same exact levels. And on top of it, right at the new year, 2021 and 2024. So here's that side-by-side fractal zoomed in now, the 2021 versus 2024. I already covered this. I'll really quickly just run through this again. Jet test up to the top, breaking resistance at 199. Jet test up to the top, breaking resistance at 199. Again, these levels are the exact same. Pull back to the middle of the range, about a 50% retrace there. Bounce up, pull back to the middle of the range, bounce up, and then fall off into your spring, which breaks below support. And then you uptrend from there, you reclaim support, and then back up to the middle of the range. And this is where we left off right here, looking for this gap up, this macro break, which would take IWM to 205 plus. That's what we're looking for this week. Again, this was 2021, and this is 2024. So January 2021, January 2024, same exact movement, same exact levels, and on top of it, and this is very interesting, the actual break of this itself was January 6th, which was the day after AMC found its all-time low landmark. Very, very interesting timing there. But let's look at this updated now because that was from last week. And here we are. Boomsticks. Broke out 199. We're sitting right on resistance right now. Now, this is what I was mentioning before. There's two possible ways that I see tomorrow playing out. Number one, and probably the most likely, would be that IWM gaps up between after hours and pre-market today, just gaps up even further into the $200 range. And then we would see more intraday upside throughout the day. Potentially, if we did gap up, maybe a pullback at open, and then around the FOMC meeting, things start to kick off. But, you know, regardless, we're looking for 200 plus here. If you see a pullback to 197 to retest this, gift buy. That's an auto buy, in my opinion, if you see 197 tomorrow morning on IWM. Not financial advice, but this looks fucking amazing. IWM is heading for 200 plus. I would probably say 205 is a lock this week. 210, definitely on the table, especially if SPY sees 500. I'm looking for the market to shred this week. Absolutely phenomenal start to the week all around the board. So this looks great. Now, this isn't updated. It doesn't need to be updated. I'm just kind of showing a point here where the last two FOMC meetings for SPY and IWM, SPY's on the left here, IWM's on the right. The last two FOMC meetings for SPY and IWM, rippers. Just absolute ripping to the upside here. November 1st for both, roughly an 8% move on IWM, and then December 12th for both, just shredding to the upside. And we're looking for the same thing here, and more than likely we're going to be seeing it. And on top of that, this is going to be a macro breakout for IWM when we do crack through 199. Again, this isn't updated. We're actually sitting on it right now. But when we do break out of this, that is a macro breakout for IWM. All this choppy bullshit that we've been going through for the past 2 years is going to be a thing of the past. Once we break out here, we're looking for verticality. Very similar to what you see in 2021, just climbing. Of course, it's an index. There's pullbacks along the way, but it is relatively vertical. That's what we're looking for over here once we get the break. So, great play. If you're not already in it, I would suggest you buy some leaps here. Just my opinion, not financial advice. You could play the weeklies this week if you want, or you could take the safer route and just play leaps on it. I mean, they're gonna fucking print regardless. Just up to you. Just risk tolerance. So this looks absolutely amazing. looking for big upside all week. So that's that. Again, I mentioned both FOMC meetings, the prior to December and November. The indices were shredding to the upside, and I'm expecting the same. On top of that, I mentioned this in my last video as well, where GameStop and AMC did not have a catalyst when they squeezed in 2021. But what did happen was an FOMC meeting in January. January 26th and 27th, which was the peak date for AMC and GameStop, FOMC meeting. And our FOMC meeting, January 2024 now, is tomorrow and Wednesday. So very, very interesting timing there. And the way things are lining up with IWM's macro break, it looks really, really fucking good for the memes as well. So that's pretty much that. Now, getting into AMC, and I'm going to speed through this because I do this every video and really nothing has changed here. So I'm not doing the full macro, I'm just doing the downtrend. So the previous cycle on the left and the current cycle on the right. Macro break, gap down into the downtrend in the blue square, sideways consolidation, fall off a cliff, and then your first touch here, come down, second touch, come down, second touch, break below the 200 EMA to the flat portion. On both sides, you get these three peaks right here that pokes above the 200 versus these three peaks that pokes above the 200, the W fake out, which breaks you out of the resistance, W fake out breaking you out, and then pulling back in for your second and third bottom all-time low, which is where we are now. And we are outside of resistance, though this line is plus or minus a few days the way you have it drawn. We are poking outside resistance right now, and we are looking for a squeeze. It's just a matter of getting the break itself. Once we get the break, the gap up, very similar to what you saw in July here, where it was very choppy, and then all of a sudden in July, just after hours, boom, that. We're looking for the same thing, except it's not going to stop this time. When we do squeeze, this will be taking us to my price target of $1,400. Really just depends on if we get a two-part or a one-part squeeze. That will be determined. I'll be live when the shit goes down, so I'll be giving my thoughts anyway, but that's what we're looking for. Macro break on AMC. Now, I mentioned the line is plus or minus a couple days depending on how you have it drawn. Here's the weekly perspective. It's a descending wedge on AMC and a very bullish looking descending wedge at that. So here is your first touch, your second touch, your third touch, and now we're on our fourth. And again, the fourth touch for AMC is the breakout and squeeze. The weekly candle opened up. It's relatively flat so far, and we're sitting right on top of resistance. Support on the bottom, first touch, second touch, third touch broke below, reclaimed, retested, and then just very flat here. All the way back to the resistance. We're sitting right on it. Very low volume throughout all of the selling here until the end. Volume picked up and is descending here, which again is exactly what you want to see throughout an accumulation, which is what we're going through right now. This is an accumulation, and we're coming off of our spring. So the next thing we're looking for is the markup phase and a very big surge in volume here, as it will be the squeeze for AMC. Now, that is that. Getting into the channel now, and this is where we left off in the last video. We're still looking for the third touch. This is the side-by-side with the July move, where this would have been the spring here, the all-time low landmark, the channel up, and then your 1, 2, 3 touches in a descending channel, where this would have been the spring, the channel up, our 1, 2, and now we're looking for the third. Now, we did form a new all-time low today, which kind of makes things a little bit confusing here on the micro. There's two ways you could look at this now, where we would actually be coming off of the spring here, where this would be the initial cup that you're seeing here, and this would be the spring. On the micro, it's tricky. It really doesn't fucking matter with where we're positioned on the macro. You know, this is an any moment type thing, and we're just looking for the macro break on IWM. I mentioned I haven't even been watching AMC. I'm not watching the line. All of my attention is focused on IWM. I'm playing it. I'm already in leaps on IWM, playing weeklies all week this week. My attention is focused there. When we see the macro break on IWM, then we will see the smaller cap tickers and meme stocks really start to move. But still, we're looking for our third touch here. Didn't quite get it today, but came close. It is possible that we're just coming off of the spring here, and we still have to play out this channel here. If we did, I would expect this to play out very fast. Roughly a week, tops. So that's pretty much it for this. I'm not going to go too crazy into the AMC micro. I mean, the macro perspective really speaks for itself. This I actually skipped. So the weekly descending wedge on AMC that I covered already, which looks fucking phenomenal, by the way. Very bullish looking descending wedge here, where we're sitting at the end of it. Very big increase in volume and descending now throughout the accumulation, coming off the spring and sitting right on top of resistance. When you zoom in here, and I skip this, this trend essentially is this. And I mentioned this, I had this trend line drawn in December, where it would have started here. Here's the first touch. You come down, reject off of it, consolidate, you get the breakout, and then the retest failed and broke back into it. This was early on December. This is present day. It's the same exact line, and we're still battling this as resistance. So first touch right here, break below, reject, consolidate, break out, retest fails, brings us back in. This point right here is right here, I believe, which is where we rejected again, came lower, back up, rejected again, came lower, back up, rejected again, came lower, and now here we are. Today's candle, we're essentially sitting on the resistance, one green day away from breaking out of this thing. And like I said, more than likely, our squeeze will be coinciding with the breakout of this trend. Our macro break is essentially right behind this line, which again is this line on the weekly, the descending wedge. We're looking for the breakout of it. That line I just showed is essentially this line here, which is the macro breakout for AMC. And the bull cycle of AMC, as we all know, is a vertical line. That's what we're looking for. We're not looking for some bullshit slow climb. No, we're looking for a gap up and a vertical line. So I think that's pretty much it for the indices, and I'm not really going over the memes, just going over specifically AMC. Sofi had a great day today. Beat earnings, up 15-20% on the day, which looks great. So small caps are starting to move. AMC, although it did form a new all-time low today, it looks good. Here is a bonus ticker. I just felt like throwing it in. Now, I still have to clean this up a little bit. I did it pretty quick, just throwing it into the video because I really like this chart. This is Estee Lauder, ticker EL. Not financial advice. Nothing I ever say is financial advice, but this thing's a fucking buy and a half. So this would have been the first iteration of the macro here. So this would be the starting point that you're seeing right here. Bounce up, descending, bounce up, descending here. This point, everything's labeled. And then the run up to your all-time high landmark, the run up to your all-time high landmark. And this downtrend took very long to play out to come down to the spring or the all-time low landmark. But this is coming off of the all-time low landmark right now, playing out much faster than it did in the previous iteration. As there's more volume, I mentioned multiple times, and this is for pretty much market-wide, the current iterations of macros that everything is going through are playing out much faster than the previous, and that is due to the volume, the increase in volume. Volume will be relative to speed, but regardless of that, this thing is coming off of its all-time low landmark. The equivalent would be right here. We're essentially in the first iteration of uptrend, looking for a higher low here. If it confirms, off to the races. Right now it's sitting at 135. All-time highs is like 350, 380, something like that. We're looking for new highs here. So this is a play in itself. There's a lot of upside here to be had. Probably the smartest thing to do here would be to play leaps, and I'll be playing leaps here. So this looks great as well. Market's bullish, market's reverse crashing, everything's gonna fucking moon, everything's straight lining, indices look amazing, blue chips look fucking incredible. Meme stocks and small caps have been beaten down, but they are about to get into their bull cycle. And again, their bull cycles are vertical lines. So for tomorrow, expecting more upside, expecting new all-time highs on the indices, and looking for a breakout on AMC of this trend here, this daily downtrend that we're battling here. Other than that, I have nothing else to say. Absolutely fucking amazing day. Very, very bullish. Reverse market crash. That's where we're at right now. So with that being said, I'll catch you guys in the next one.